With the housing market on fire, we talk real estate every Wednesday. So today we're focusing on those closings. And joining us with some tips is Eugenia Foxworth. She is the president of the International Federation of Real Estate. Good morning, Eugenia, and welcome to BNC. Let's talk about this. All right, so you've agreed the terms, you got your attorney, you got your checks ready. It's time for closing. How important, though, is it getting the paperwork to review before you actually get the closing?
It's important to review it with your attorney, which he should. He should go over the details with you step by step, telling you exactly what you need, the checks that you're laying out, and the costs that you will encounter after the closing.
Yeah, and it's important those checks, they have to be certified checks, right? It can't be a personal check. Am I right about that?
Checks must be certified. They can also do wire transfers. Generally, the checks are incidental. So your attorney will have checks from the escrow account, or you're told to get certified checks and bring them with you. And that's usually done 24 hours in advance.
You know, when you get to closing, you do everything. It's hard to try and find that house. It's agonizing. You find a house that you want, and then it's not yours until you get the closing. And that day can be really nerve-wracking. So let's talk about some of these stories. First of all, let's talk about a story about, have you heard of homes being bought but not being registered at the courthouse? What do you do if that's the case?
In other words, that's why one has a lien search. You pay your attorney. He has a title team or whatever, a title group that he uses that does a lien search. The things are sent to your local county court, and they let you know who the owners are. They let you know if the title is free and clear. And anyone who arrives at a closing and they are not allowed to close, then that attorney has not done his due diligence.
Yeah, and it happens sometimes, though, because, you know, once again, we hear these nightmares of closings, and then you hear about, oh, this came up. So give us some other surprises that we should be aware of so that they aren't surprises once we get to closing.
But there are various surprises once one gets to the closing that you may not be aware of. Certain costs that you may encounter that you did not have because someone failed to let you know. And that is, you have to pay taxes, whether you purchase a home or whether you are purchasing a condo, co-ops, which are small, that are known more so in the Northeast. Your taxes are included with your maintenance. Condos, your taxes are separate. And sometimes they don't tell you. Sometimes they don't tell you the exact dates that you have to make sure it's in. Also, you need to know your HOA if you're moving into a complex. And you need to know what you have to pay there, what that involves.
Who's responsible for that? Are we going to leave that up to the real estate agent, or should your attorney be the ones telling you about the taxes and the HOA dues that might be some of your responsibility?
The responsibility begins with the owner, then the exclusive agent that is selling, and then the agent that is representing you. You need to know those prices. You need to have those prices to give to the attorney. And then the attorney is supposed to do his due diligence. And that means going into the management company looking at the offering plan, looking at the minutes from the past because prices do change. You know, you have a flood or something, a broken pipe in a building, you may get an assessment. So actually, the ball falls with the attorney. So all three people are responsible.
Usually, and I bought several homes. Usually, before the final closing, you do a little bit of a walkthrough, make sure everything's fine. But then you get there, you get the keys. What happens if you get the keys? They've moved out, and the home isn't the way you saw it the last time before the closing. What are your rights? What can you do?
Well, first of all, you haven't signed off on purchasing. So you know what is, you go in at least 24 to 72 hours. I prefer having my clients go in 24 hours before or the day
Mm-hmm.
of. 24 hours before gives you time to let your attorney know that they removed the stove. There's a hole in the
Mm-hmm.
wall. There's water
Mm-hmm.
damage that was underneath the carpet and it's buckling. Um, so when you let your attorney know this at the closing, there's money that is set aside until all of the repairs have done and the problems have been solved. And once it has been solved, you go back through. When you
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, it's done, then the money is released to you.